In terms of like sex appeal on this stage. First it was like that guy with like the hat and like melodic voice, then it was Ski, and then it was me. It's a real roller coaster ride for you guys.
We love it.
I'm the sexy one, right?
Yeah. Like you're a 10, we're a couple of 4s. I'm gonna sit on this stool, just like relax a little bit. Like I'm like your guys' stepdad. Like, hey bud.
I'm going to give you a lecture right now.
Sure I'm dating your mom, but pizza, right? Like, yeah. Cool stepdad. So I actually recently got back from a funeral.
Oh.
Yeah, as a guest. And, yeah, that's a thinker. God, every time I go to a funeral, I'm like a little bit surprised at the size of a coffin. It's like this huge wooden box, It's massive. And if you think about it, there's essentially a point in your life when you're going to go into a forest and you're going to point at a tree and you're going to say, when I go, you're coming with me. That's how big coffins are. You guys can relax. This bit is mostly about lasagna. So, I really like funerals for their after parties or the wake, because every wake I've ever been to has my favorite food, lasagna. Yeah, I fucking love lasagna. Okay, lasagna's the best food that's ever been made. And every time I go to a funeral, there's always just like lasagna at the end of it, which is like really fucking up my relationship with death. It's gotten to the point where like I hear like somebody's sick, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's delicious. I'm so sorry. I'm starting to hang out with like old people, like asking them questions, like your grandkids on a bake, or are they more like a catering crowd? Like that's what I love. That's how much I love lasagna. One thing I hate about funerals, besides the death, is vegetarian lasagna. That's some bullshit, right? Vegetarian lasagna? I actually speak a little bit of Italian, and vegetarian lasagna translates to your mother's a whore. That's what that joke means, yeah. My mother makes an incredible lasagna, or at least she used to. Such a weird bit, I'm sorry. At least she used to. I remember as a kid, something that really fucked up my mom's lasagna was the Oprah Winfrey show. You guys remember the Oprah Winfrey show?
Yeah.
It was always on when we were like a couple years back. If you guys remember, Oprah Winfrey was just the Joe Rogan of her time. What Joe Rogan is doing to white men, Oprah Winfrey was doing to our moms, right? Just filling up their heads with ideas, making them question shit all the time. I remember I came home one day as a kid. I was 13 years old. I was feeling good. My glands were pumping. I was fantastic. I come home. I see this incredible lasagna on the table. I'm like, fantastic. I take a bite, and what do I taste? Fucking eggplant. And I look at my mom like, what is this? She's like, oh, isn't it incredible? I got it from the Oprah Winfrey show. Isn't that some bullshit? It's actually some good news for my mom. My mom recently, for the first time in 20 years, my mom quit her second job. My mom's down to one job now. Round of applause for my mom, you guys. Yeah. My mom only has one gig, and she doesn't know what to do with all her free time. My mom still acts like she has 2 jobs. She'll do 2-job brags, like she doesn't know any better. The other day, she was like, hey, guess how much sleep I got? 9 hours. And then she'll laugh. That's a big deal. Meanwhile, I spend 12 hours in bed because I have a mental illness. That's... now that my mom only has one job, she's getting caught back up on society. She called me the other day, she's like, oh my God, did you hear about Michael Jackson? It's yeah, he's dead. No, he's a pedophile. No. He's not a good man like that Bill Cosby. I'm like, ugh! She's still in season 1 of Bad Men. I don't want to spoil it for her. This is so gross. So I tutor kids because I'm better than you guys. Like, yeah, I tutor kids. I am. Like, I actually do that. And like, the one thing that's weird about tutoring kids is kids just trust you because they're taller than you. Which like, if like, if you're taller than a child, they think you're a trustworthy person. Which, by the way, like, ask any woman in the world that, and they'll tell you that's not a good idea, right? Don't trust people just because they're taller than you, all right, ladies? Like, suddenly 5'9" doesn't sound so bad. But fuck that thing. Anyway, it's condescending. I'm sorry. Yeah, so I teach kids, and like, I don't really love teaching kids because like I don't remember any of the shit that I learned in school. You know, like I don't remember any geography. Like the only bits of geography that I remember is that like Lewis and Clark like killed himself. Yeah, like that's how but presumably because he knew too much geography. Yeah. Kids hate that fact, by the way. Yeah, and like whenever you're teaching a child how to do something, like they hate it. Like kids hate school, but they don't have any other plans. And like every time they like try to weasel out of school, I have to like explain it to them. I'm like, listen, you don't understand. 200 years ago, like you wouldn't be in school. You'd be in a mine. Not even like a good mine, like a children's mine, all right? It's just like a regular mine, but much smaller. You couldn't get any regulators in there. It'd be terrible. Sometimes I wish there was like we still lived in a world where children are working. Not because I hate kids, just because I want to see like those like adorable workplace antics. Just like me and like a kid. Like you'd be like at a restaurant and be like, hey, I ordered the frittata, this is an omelet. And they're like, why aren't you writing any shit down? And they're like, I'm sorry, I don't know how to write, I'm 10. You see some like worried kid like walking up to you like, hey, what's wrong, Timmy? And you're like, oh man, I gotta work the night shift. What if there are monsters? And you're like, get back to work, Timmy. What's funny about that joke is like it actually happened today. I just translated the Chinese. Yeah, you guys don't get to groan and have an iPhone. That's how that joke works. All right, I'm Aron Woldeslassie. Thank you so much.